Hola amores, hi everyone. Oh my goodness, it is a new year. The last time I saw you was in 2017. So, welcome back to my channel. Happy 2018. I hope that the holidays treated you well, that you spent time with family, friends, loved ones, that you got to eat a lot of yummy food, and that you got to get some rest and you got to just sit down and prepare and come up with some ideas and some goals for 2018. I'm definitely a firm believer of writing things down, proclaiming it, and then working really, really hard to get it. Speaking of goals and working really hard, I've been working really hard so that 2018 is going to be great for both you and I. First and foremost, I upgraded my camera, so it's looking good, right? Saved up a lot of money so that I could buy this, but I definitely think that if you're going to do something, do it 100%, or don't do it at all. And not to say that you need a really fancy camera, but I kind of outgrew my other camera and it just wasn't giving me the results that I wanted, so I was like, alright, I'm gonna get this, and oh my gosh, it's really changed the game for me in terms of video, which I'm sure you can see a difference, and also photography. Yeah, so I think that's really cool. And I just have so many goals and ideas that I really want to get off the ground this year. And last year, I'm not gonna lie, I was actually a little bit afraid to just dive in 100%. I did a really good job at the beginning of the year until about, I guess, the end of the summer, August, September, and then after that, I don't know what happened. I felt really bogged down, and I don't know the way to explain it. I kind of just felt like Eeyore, you know, in his little own world with the dark little rain cloud over him, which, if you know me or if you're good at reading personalities right off the bat, I'm definitely not that kind of a person. I'm not really an introvert. I'm an extrovert, and I like to just put myself out there, and it just wasn't happening at the end of the year. So I know a lot of you were looking forward to more tutorials, and I apologize, but I'm here, I'm refreshed, my battery's recharged, and I'm really looking forward to bringing more content for you all. Some other things that I have in mind are on my to-do list. I really want to start kind of like a chapter series on my channel, and basically these chapter series are going to be discussing things in detail, so something very specific like contouring, highlighting, and I think this is going to be really helpful for a lot of you who are beginners or who aren't really that familiar with a specific product type or a specific technique. I know that even me as a person who really likes makeup, I can watch other tutorials and it'll go by too fast, and I'll be like, wait a minute, how is somebody who doesn't know anything about makeup supposed to feel when you're like throwing all this information? So I am an educator actually. I'm a self-taught freelance makeup artist. But my first gig is I'm a teaching artist. I'm a musician, a performer, an educator. And so I really take a lot of the education portion, and I really like to instill that in everything that I do. So whether it's on YouTube, or if you catch me on Facebook on my page and I do a live, or I'm in a lot of different Facebook makeup pages, I really like to share like a step-by-step of like how to do things, so that you're not only watching me do it, but you can go on your own time when you feel comfortable, and you can give it a try. And so I really pride myself on doing that, and I hope that it's helpful for you. As always, any feedback that you can give, whether you like something or it wasn't really your favorite, or you need something more in depth or more detailed, let me know. You can communicate via the comments here on YouTube. You can shoot me a private email. You can find me on my Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, you name it. There's so many ways to get in contact with me, or you could even send some snail mail. I'm a geek and I really geek out with handwriting, so if you want to send me a letter, that would be actually really cool, and I'll write you a letter back. But anyway, today's look is a little bit different. I did not create this look for myself. I actually took inspiration, so this is technically a recreation. This is a recreation of a face chart, and the artist is Milk1422. You can find them on Instagram, and if you're not already following them, I don't know, like you've been living under a rock or something, because these face charts are all over the place and they are stunning. So let me just show you. This is one of the face charts. This is not a picture of a person. Gorgeous, right? So for those of you who are unfamiliar with the face chart, A face chart is basically a tool that a makeup artist uses to create makeup looks. But the really neat thing about it is that they have control over all of the elements. So some face charts are just on a blank sheet of paper and extremely talented artists get to create, you know, an entire face. Or other face charts start with a really simple silhouette. And from there, the makeup artist is able to manipulate by using shadows and highlights and actually using makeup or digital art. Some are made on computers to create just these amazing looks. And myself, along with thousands and thousands of other makeup artists and makeup enthusiasts, I don't know, I really like recreating. I will say though that it's very challenging, especially as a perfectionist. Like, to me, this is art. Looking at it, it's art. And so when I was doing this, I was just like freaking out the whole time, like, oh man, I really hope it looks good. I really hope that I do it justice, and I think I did a pretty good job. There are going to be some techniques or some things that are a little bit different, so this isn't necessarily techniques that I would use on the everyday for every single thing that I did today. However, I think you're going to love the products that I used, and just take what you want from it, you know what I mean? You don't have to like everything, and that's okay, but this is kind of like that makeup look through my eyes. So thank you so much for joining. I hope to see you around for the rest of the year. Shoot me a message in my DMs, whatever you want. Find me on your favorite social media platforms. I have Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, and obviously YouTube. But without any further ado, let's get started on this tutorial. We're going to start things off a little bit different. I'm going to start with my eye makeup, and I'm priming my lids and under eyes with this High-Adherence silicone primer from The Ordinary. I'm picking up my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Light Medium Honey, and I'm just going to dot that onto the lid. What? Let's get a replay. Getting back to business, I'm going to finish dotting this on the lid, and then I'm going to go in with my Sigma 3D HD Precision Brush to blend all of this out. Now, you can't really see on the screen, but this brush is so cool and innovative. It basically looks like a rooftop, so both sides of the brush come in at an angle and then a tip to the top, and there's just something about it that makes it so easy to blend everything out. Today I'll be setting my concealer with Airspun translucent powder. I use a damp beauty blender sponge, pick up some of the powder, and push it directly onto the eyelid. Don't forget, sometimes you gotta say a little prayer and just hope that the makeup look comes out the way you want it to. I'm also going to be applying some tape, yes, some tape, to the outer edge of my eyes, and today the purpose is to help me get a nice crisp oh my god, I've recorded this 50 times. Crisp, clean, not Krispy Kreme eyeshadow line. I need a neutral color for my transition shade, so I'm going to go ahead and pick up this color right here with my MAC 224 brush, and this is from the Coastal Scents 88 Matte Shadow Palette. I'm going to be using windshield wiper motions and circular motions going in and out just along the brow bone area, and this brush is long and fluffy, so it's basically going to diffuse the color and help with blending. Next, I'll be using my Kat Von D Shade and Light Contour Palette, and this is the shade Somber. Still picking that up with my MAC 224 and going over the first shade. This is my Morphe R39 brush. As you can see, it's a little bit shorter than my MAC 224, and it's a little bit more dense, so this is really going to concentrate the color onto the lid. This shadow is called Shadow Play, also from the Kat Von D Shadow and Light Contour Palette, and I'm just using this to add a little bit more definition. I want to define the crease now, so I'm going to be using the darkest shade in the same palette, and it's called Subconscious. I picked it up with the same R39 Morphe brush, and I'm putting this in the crease just below where we placed the transition color. As I mentioned in the beginning, this look is very dramatic and it's very exaggerated. So in order to achieve this, I'm going to be using some techniques that I wouldn't normally use. So the perfect example is right here. I am pulling that crease color all the way to the bridge of the nose, which is something that I would not normally do. So just letting you all know that I would normally stop right at the end of the crease, but for today's
tutorial purposes, I'm going to be pulling it all the way to the bridge of the nose and then using my fluffy 224 MAC brush just to blend that crease color and transition color together. This right here is the Tarte Maracuja Creaseless Concealer in the shade Light, and I'm going to be applying it with this brush right here, which is from BH Cosmetics Rose Gold Brush Collection. Now, if you look at my eye, from the lash to that first little crease line, that's technically my lid, and it's quite small. And then just above my lid, right here where I'm touching the concealer onto, is like extra fatty tissue that happens to hang over the lid. So that's the definition of a hooded eye. There are many, many men and women who have hooded eyes, and there's nothing wrong with it. I was just born this way. So here comes in the power of makeup, and also tips that I learned from Nikki Tutorials. She also has hooded eyes. So what I'm doing right here is a technique to extend the amount of lid space that I have so that I can add more colors and be more creative. So don't worry everyone, if you have a hooded lid, you too can do really awesome creative looks. It's all about the magic of makeup. Here we have the shader brush from Morphe, the M577, and I'm going to pick up this light pale pink from the same Coastal Scents 88 matte shadow palette, and I'm going to place it on the inner third of the eye. Now essentially you can use any dense flat shader brush. I happen to like this one a little bit more though because there's a point at the end and it gives me a little bit more precision. Holy pigment, Batman! Check out this color, Star Power from the Jeffree Star Beauty Killer palette. I'm picking up this brush, it's an M331, again from Morphe. You can use any shader brush, and basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to pack this color on. And by packing, I mean that I'm going to just apply a heavy layer with short little strokes, pushing it onto the skin to really ensure that I'm packing in all the color, all the pigment, so it can really, really pop. As you continue to lay down your eyeshadow, make sure that you're taking the eyeshadow, every single color, all the way to the brink, right there where the concealer meets that crease shade. This is very, very important. Next we're going in with this shade Violence from the Beauty Killer palette, and this is a Morphe G14 brush. It's a flat shader brush. Now the other shadows, when I applied them, I was applying them more up and down. This shadow, however, I want to apply more in an angle to elongate the eye. We're still using the Beauty Killer palette. I'm going to pick up this beautiful shade Vanity with a pointed blending brush, the Morphe M411. This brush is so versatile and oh my god, it's amazing. Like, you need this in your life. Now, the reason I say it's versatile is because it's dense enough that you can pack on shadow, which is what I'm doing here, but the tip is very fluffy and it's pointed, so it gives you precise blending, which is, oh my god, this brush is a lifesaver. So what I'm doing is I'm actually, after I pack on some of the shadow, I'm pulling some of that shadow in a little bit closer to the center of the eye, and it's going over that line, that fine line that we had where the transition color and the concealer meet. So this is really going to help you later on get that really nice blend. Now there is some fallout, so that's why I'm going back over it with some pink to make sure that the fallout doesn't wash out any of the pink shadow. This next little trick or technique is something I picked up from watching Marianne Comelion. She is on Instagram and on YouTube. She's fantastic. But what I'm doing right now is I'm going to create a smoky eye, but I don't want to lose the definition of the pinks that I've already placed on the lid because that would just be time wasted and heartache and heartbreak. So I'm going over and lining the crease, and then I'm going to pick up a clean Morphe M168 brush. And I'm going to blend it out ever so slightly, just a little bit, nothing too much, because again, I really want to keep the definition. Now, to create my smoky eye, I'm going to be using browns and blacks, so I'm picking up this shadow right here, which is Morocco from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And this brush is a MAC 217, and I'm just going to start adding that on, blending it out just a little bit. And already you can see that the black kind of turns gray, which is what I don't want. So I'm going to go in and pick up the shade Black Rainbow from the Jeffree Star Beauty Killer palette, and I'm going to pack that in just a little bit and continue to blend it out. Alright, this is what makeup champions are made out of. It's time to blend. One of my favorite blending brushes is the Morphe R40 brush. It's an extra fluffy brush. Its main purpose in life is to help you blend the lines. What you're looking for is a seamless transition between the black and the brown shadows. So it might take 5 or 10 minutes, but it's totally worth it. And don't forget to pack on a little bit more of the pinks, just so that way the pigment is always popping. And the last little step here, I'm going to be packing on black shadow one last time on the outer corner at a very exaggerated angle to really define the outer edge and the crease and give me a very deep socket, just as in the original photo. The good news, we finished one eye. The bad news, we've only finished one eye. So get a little pep in your step, repeat the process, and pray that it all comes out symmetrical. Good luck! And here we are 2 hours later, just kidding, but not really. And I'm going to be picking up this ColourPop Slave to Pink Super Shock Press Pigment. I'm just picking it up with my finger, and I'm going to put that right in the middle of the lid. Again, we want to make sure that this look is exaggerated, dramatic, and poppin'. And as if everything up until this point wasn't hard enough already, it's time to choose one. Yes, only one glitter liner. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going through all of the Urban Decay Heavy Metal liners and looking at the photo and trying to decide which one will go best with this look. And I finally came to the conclusion, 20 minutes later, that I'm going to use Grind. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to be placing this in the little space right there where the pinks meet the black shadow crease. Now you can take this as far into the nose as you'd like. I don't like to take it too far in because you can't really see it, and I'm not going to take it all the way into the black shadow. So this is strictly going to lie on the pink shadow. You've probably noticed that I'm constantly having to put the applicator back into the product and shake it up, but honestly I just think it's because it's so freaking cold here in Boston. So if you're not in a location that's as cold as Hoth, aka Boston, I think you should be alright. Now, this glitter is so perfect, but you gotta make sure that you're patient, work in slow strokes, and make sure you let it dry. So important. Don't make the same mistake I made. So just be patient and make sure you let it dry. Now it's time to move on to face makeup, but before we do, gently remove the tape from your eyes, and using a baby wipe or a makeup wipe, remove any excess fallout from the face. And now it's prep and prime time. I'm going to be using this hyaluronic acid from Measurable Difference, and I always buy this at TJ Maxx. It's like $3.99, and it is the perfect, I repeat, the perfect moisturizer. When I do a full glam look, I love to use this Nivea Men's Post Shave Balm. Sounds kind of weird, but I swear by it. It makes the foundation really stay in place. Time to battle those dark circles and acne spots. So what I like to use is a cream-based peach or salmon color corrector, and I'm spreading it underneath the eyes, down below my chin, and any other places on my face where I might have any acne scars or dark pigmentation. I really like to mix foundations to get a more skin-like look, so the first foundation I'm going to be applying is the Makeup Forever HD Stick. This foundation is amazing. A little goes a long way, super full coverage. And then next I'm going to use a Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation. This is liquid, the other one was in a cream stick. And now I'm going to go in with my Sigma Edge Kabuki. As you can see here, it's like a triangle. And this is just such a weird brush, but it's so amazing. It's like weird but also a blessing. That's the only way to explain it. As you can see here, it just gets into all the little nooks and crannies of the face, and what I do is I stipple it, so I'm basically pushing the product into the skin as I buff it out in circular motions. Whenever I use liquids or creams, I like to use a brush first so that I can really get it into the skin, and then I'll go over it with a damp beauty sponge. This one's from Real Techniques. Shh, it's time to hide our secrets. I mean, it's time to conceal our under eyes, of course. So this right here is from Lancome. It's their waterproof concealer. I'm going to be applying it on the bottom of my chin, top of my lips, and underneath the eyes. And I'm also going to throw some Tarte Shape Tape Concealer into the mix. As I said before, I like to go in with a brush first when I'm using liquid or creams. This brush is actually a small contour brush from Crown Brushes, but I love to use this for contouring. And I like to work one side at a time, so after I finish blending out with the brush on one side, I'll go in with a damp beauty sponge and repeat the process on the other side. Alright, hold the phone. Let's be honest here. I know you're judging me. You're looking at my face, looking at my neck, and you're like, honey, girlfriend, you're not matching. As a matter of fact, you look like a vampire because you look so pale. But shh, don't worry. There's always method to the madness. We'll fix that in a second. But first, we gotta make sure that we blend everything out flawlessly and get ready to set it with some translucent powder. Going back and picking up my Airspun translucent powder and a damp beauty blender sponge, I'm basically going to pick up some of this powder and press it into the skin everywhere I added concealer, including around the nose. Now let's go ahead and set the rest of the face. I'm using my Charlotte Tilbury face powder and this big fluffy blending brush, an E41 from Morphe. And basically when you're working with liquids or creams, you want to go over it with some type of powder to make sure it stays put. Checking into the face chart for reference. Do you see that contour though? Ooh, yeah. Ugh. I always drop everything. Anyway, it is time to come in and get these cheekbones cut, girl. I like to stencil out where I'm going to place the contour, especially when I'm doing a complete different contour shape. So I'm just using a flat brush and some translucent powder to kind of map out where I'm going to be placing the contour. Hey, we already know this palette, Kat Von D's Shade and Light Contour Palette. I'm going to be going in with the lightest shade to start the contour process. Notice how I'm taking the product all along the cheekbone, on the side of the face, into the temples, and around the forehead. Don't forget to blend this into the hairline. You don't want it to look like you have a mask on. I'm going to skip the middle shade. I need more drama, so I'm picking up the darkest shade in this palette. Now be careful, as you can see it is extremely pigmented. For this look it's perfect though. So I'm taking that all the way around the face in the same areas, and I'm also going to be adding some to the jawline to add some color, some shading, and definition. Is your contour a little messy? Don't worry, you can use the same translucent powder on that flat brush to clean everything up. Did someone say highlight? I'm going to be using both highlighters from the Dose of Colors Desi Katie collab. On the right is Fuego and on the left is Mírame. And I like to use my Kabuki fan brush from Crown Brushes to apply this all along the top of the cheekbone, down the nose, chin, and a little on the forehead. The next highlight I like to use is Mary Luminizer. As you can already see, stacking these up gives it a really, really nice effect. And this right here is a highlighter from Ofra in Rodeo Drive, using the same brush, being a little bit more gentle, but I really, really like stacking these up. And last but not least is Fenty Beauty's highlighter. And I put that just at the very top of the cheekbone to really give it that pop. I usually only highlight just the tip of my nose, but again, I'm trying to really recreate this face chart as accurately as possible. So I'm adding it not only to the tip of my nose, but also down the entire bridge. And I also don't normally contour my nose, but I am going to be contouring using that same dark shade that I used in my contour on my cheeks from the Kat Von D palette. I'm going to be using that to give a little bit more shape and definition to my nose. Don't forget the finishing touch. Go ahead and grab a flat brush and blend that all together. These poor naked brows! Oh my goodness, let's do something about it. I'm gonna get them poppin'. So I ended up picking up a black felt tip liner. I don't normally use this, but I really want just these brows to like pop and be dramatic. I think I've said both of those words at least 10 times in this tutorial. But anyway, sorry I'm kind of blocking here with the mirror. It was just easier for me to see like this. But I'm basically doing the same steps that I normally do. However, with this felt tip liner, it's just very, very dark and pigmented. So I've outlined the complete bottom of the brow, and I've outlined the top 2/3 of the brow, avoiding the front. And now I'm just using small, short hair-like strokes to fill everything in. And then I will be picking up a small little angled brush and then just kind of gently blending everything out. And then I'll be pushing whatever's left in the brush to the front of the brow to fill that in as well. I am doing a whole heck of a lot of finger crossing and praying in this tutorial. But you want to follow the same steps, fill in the other brow, and then you want to go ahead and curl your lashes and apply your favorite mascara. Let's smoke out the lower lash line. I'm using this gel glide liner from LA Girl Cosmetics, and this formula, oh my god, it's golden. It stays put wherever you need it. So what I'm doing is I'm lining both the lash lines on the top and bottom, and then I'm grabbing a short pencil brush and I'm smudging it all along the lash line, dragging it back and forth and pulling it down just a little bit. And here's Stephanie with some halftime entertainment. Ricky Martin just came on the playlist, by the way, so I mean, you can't not dance to that. And look at these smoky eyes. Ooh, girl, yes, girl. Okay, okay. I need some lashes. Not only lashes, though, I want dramatic lashes. These are from Saucy Lashes in the style Wilshire. And as you can see right here, these are perfection. Ooh, beautiful. We can't forget to perfect our pout, and this recreation calls for a nude lip. So I'm using this nude liner from Milani, and then all of the other lip products that I'm going to be using are from the Patrick Starr MAC Cosmetics collaboration. This right here is the lipstick, and it's called Mama Star, after his mom. How sweet. And I'm also going to be adding just a little bit of highlighter to the Cupid's bow. This is Ofra's Rodeo Drive. Let's get glossy. So I'm going in with this lip gloss, and it is in the same shade, so Mama Star. And then next up, I'm going to add a little bit of a lighter shade. This is called She Better Work, right in the middle of the pout. And the finishing touch, this is my little secret, I like to add a little bit of highlight also in the middle of the pout to really make it pop. Hallelujah, we made it. And the very last step is spraying on a setting mist. This is from Ofra. It's called the Makeup Fixer, and I like to use just a sheet of paper to help me fan it. Yeah, sheet of paper, right? Fan it down and let it dry. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the final look. Loving it. Check out the accessories. Gotta have the bling, of course. And these earrings, oh my goodness. If I was a piece of jewelry, I would be these earrings. So what do you think? Did I nail it or nah? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.